action.
My first photography class was in 1971 at Florida Institute of Technology in Melbourne Beach, Florida. And I remember my photographer, my instructor was actually an underwater photographer. He was teaching basics of photography. And it was just mainly a technical class. And he would teach, showing us how to compensate, aperture and shutter speed. I learned the technical aspects of photography, but it was because the class was strictly technical.
And he didn't like teaching.
He didn't really like to teach. I could tell he had his favorites, and he was a very good underwater photographer, but he did not know how to get the point across. Plus, to me, photography at that point was a scientific tool. It didn't interest me.
You hated photography?
I didn't really like it. And somebody offered to get me one of my mother's friends had an old Leica camera, and she wanted to sell it. I didn't want to buy it because I didn't. Why would I want to buy a camera? I had a little point and shoot at that time, a little Brownie camera.
And you wanted a Brownie instead of a Leica.
Well, I had a Brownie already. So in the summer of 1973, I went to Europe with a buddy of mine for 6 weeks, backpacking around Europe. I had a little Brownie camera. I think it was called Hawkeye or something, 1960s, whatever. And he had a Yashica SLR. He took some pretty decent pictures, quality pictures. And I took a point and shoot. Here we are going down the Rhine. I'm taking these crummy pictures. He's taking pretty decent pictures. And I got back from Europe, and my dad said, "These are lousy pictures." I said, "Well, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad, for the compliment and the encouragement." And
aren't parents great?
Yeah, they're wonderful. And anyway, photography at that point for me was kind of. But I saw at that point that really that my pictures were lousy. I could have taken a lot better pictures.
Yeah. And look where you are today.
Yeah. I'm an accomplished photographer, and I'm frustrated. Anyway.
I'm frustrated.
I'm gray hair and I'm going bald, see? But in 1975, March 75, I went out to California. At that point I was living in Florida. I took a trip to Southern California to visit my cousin in San Clemente. And we were out on the beach walking around. In fact, there's a real cool surfing beach called Trestles. And we were early one taking pictures on the beach. And at that point, I'd bought a camera. And I started taking a lot better pictures. And all of a sudden, photography became an art form. It became an expression, an extension of me.
Yeah.
And I could take an early morning shots of the waves at Trestles, which is just south of San Clemente. And that's when photography started becoming interesting.
And when was that? How old were you then?
March 75 would have been, I was probably 22.
22.
And then the following year, I went to, my buddy Roy and I took a 3-week trip out to Colorado and Wyoming, and we drove, and at that point I had a Canon AE1, and I also had a Leica.
You were stepping up.
And I was given to me an old German camera. It was a pop-out Leica. It was like folded up and it popped out, but it had a Schneider lens on it. Very, very 28 millimeter, like
nice
a 2.8 lens.
Yeah.
And I was taking pictures. And we were out in Estes Park, Colorado, and then went to Aspen and places like we wound up in Wyoming, Teton National Park, and I started taking some nice pictures. And in fact, I had a Polaroid lens filter over my Canon lens. I had a zoom lens, which is not a very good. It was like a Vivitar zoom lens, but the quality of pictures changed, and I started enjoying photography. But usually I just took landscapes, never took people pictures. But photography became a little more interesting. The summer of '77, I went back out there again by myself. Took a 1-month trip out to Wyoming, Montana, and Waterton Lakes, Canada, and went up to Banff. And started taking more pictures then, and I saw a different change in pictures. Well, let's go fast forward to '78. I was on the Lake Tahoe. I moved out there. I was taking an art class in Lake Tahoe, in Klein Village, Tahoe, 1978. In the late fall, winter was like, we had an early winter, and I fell in love with photography because the instructor in 1978, Steve, I don't remember Steve's last name, was an artist. He studied under Ansel Adams.
So he influenced you
Yes,
quite a
in a
bit.
very positive
Thank
way.
you, Steve, wherever you are.
Yeah. Between
Oh my gosh,
1971,
it's starting to
between
rain.
71 and 78, I went from a technical to the artistic side of photography. That's what changed my life.
Awesome. And now?
Now look at me.
And now look at you.
I got a gorgeous wife. I'm working my ass off as a photographer. And I've become a
And you have your work on display at the Frable Art Gallery?
Exactly. I've become a crotchety old bastard. But
Leland.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Take that away.
I can't edit that out.
Well, those of you who hear this on Facebook, I didn't mean that last word. Anyway, but no, I do have I have to count my blessings. I have an art show at the Frable Art Glass Gallery in Buckhead, and yeah, you know what? I am proud of some of the pictures I've taken.
You should be.
And I'm blessed because I can capture on film, as I use the word film, on camera, what I see is an extension of my eyes. And God's creation has become a total... I have found God's creation through the camera.
Yes, you have. You have, and you've done it well.
Photography's been a blessing for me.
Yes, it has. Well, it is you, Leland.
Yeah.
It is you. It's your passion.
And the years between 71 and 70, after 78, I decided to photography became more serious. I became a serious amateur. In 1980, I moved to Southern California. In January of 1981, I got my first professional job working for a small newspaper in La Habra, California, which is southeast of Los Angeles, and making probably $4.50 an hour or whatever, you know, an unlivable wage, but I was being paid to take pictures.
Yep.
And I fell in love with the world of photojournalism, and my heart and passion is photojournalism.
Yep.
Documenting life.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay. Are we done with our lesson for today?
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
I'm blessed. You know why? You're my gorgeous wife.
That's a wrap. Bye, Leland. Bye.
Bye.